Evcol.
Enough bloody cold out there. We got to deal with him tonight, Andy.
I thought I already told you to get him sorted. Where's he now?
He's outside in a motor, isn't he?
Yours?
No. Is.
What you bring him here for then?
Well, way I see it is it's far enough off our usual stomping for the old Bill to turn over this man as usual suspects if they come looking.
If they come looking, we'd better get out of town.
You should have seen the ag I had trying to get him to stay on me tail all the way up.
Oh, you must have made it nice and easy for him then. That one couldn't normally follow a trail of breadcrumbs, stupid
Yeah!
All right, how's it going to go down then? I mean, it's got to be neat, innit?
Thursday night, inside the Victory, Taylor, Metcalfe and Cochrane. They're sat at the bar. Don't think I've been eyeballed yet. Shadowed Cochrane by car from Metcalfe's flat on Highgate Street, up through the Elephant, over London Bridge and halfway up to bleeding Hackney by now. He's not very bloody careful, is he? I love you too, darling. I won't be long home. The missus, she worries something awful. Cochrane and Metcalfe look like they're waiting, like they're due a meet soon. Most interesting thing Cochrane's done in the past week is take a shit. Still, I always knew it would be a slow burn.
Hey, want a game, son?
All right, Andy, why not? You don't normally want to.
Why don't we make a tournament of it? With our friend over there.
Oh, yeah. Oi, mate, do you want a game?
Me?
No, the war behind you. Course you. Winner plays on.
Oh, I guess, okay.
Got a quid? For the machine?
Oh, yeah. $10:15 p.m. now. Played a few rounds of pool with Metcalfe and Cochrane. It's weird, like they're showing me nothing is happening. No meat, no calls, just these two having a few pints and playing a game. Anyone else, you'd think it was just another normal night, but not for these two. It's not like them to stand around without a plan. Oh, yeah, I forgot. One of their goons came in about 9 while I was doing my best Steve Davis. Didn't see who it was, wearing a motorcycle helmet, see? In and out, though. Now handed over, yeah, I could see. I just came in, quick word with Metcalfe and out again. Metcalfe didn't even buy him a drink, the type bastard. Hi, you've reached Detective Sergeant Mark Appleton. I can't answer the phone right now, but you can leave me a message here, or if it's urgent, call my office at Kennington Police Station on 020...
Yeah, I'll get rid of it. No sweat. Yeah, I know. Over there.
Nefarious by Richard Bates. Part 1.
Blimey, what's this at this hour?
Mom, it's Dave Townsend here, from the Nick.
This had better be good, Sarge. It's only just getting light. Do you know what time it is?
Why? I wasn't disturbing you in the middle of anything, was I, Mom?
Yes, sleeping. Like any other sane person at this hour. What is it?
Sorry, Mom. I wouldn't have bothered you, but Detective Chief Superintendent Brennan told me to call you out to a crime scene. Come fire or brimstone or the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse were her exact words.
Yes, all right, Sarge. Where does the DCS want me to go at this unreasonable hour?
Sports bag containing a body has been pulled out of the River Lee near the Bow Locks.
Oh, near the Bow Locks? That must be at least 5 miles off our patch. Are you calling from Kingley Street?
Yes, Mom.
The Kingley Street Nick in Soho, where we both work.
Yes, Mom.
You haven't transferred in the night?
No, Mom.
Okay, then.
Thing is, this bag they found contains the suspected remains of DS Mark Appleton, who went missing just before Christmas.
What?
The body of DS Mark Appleton has been...
Yes, I heard you. Bloody hell. No wonder Brennan's in a flap. Tell her I'm on my way.
Car's on its way to collect you from your place now, Mom. DCS Brennan and DS Spicer are already at the scene.
Ah, Lizzie, there you are.
Yes, Ma'am. Sean Spicer filled me in the car on the way.
Body of Mark Appleton floated just over there. Night angler hooked the bag in the water around 1 a.m. Got a bit more than he bargained for when he looked inside.
We certain it's Appleton, Ma'am?
The body's pretty far gone, but his warrant card and a few credit cards and a driving licence were in the coat pocket.
Why leave those?
That's for you to find out.
Why me? Why not the local factory? What is it round here? Bo?
Because it comes from the top, DCI McHugh. No one known to or acquainted with the victim can be on the case. Too personal. Too much drama. Too much at stake for the Met.
Assistant Commissioner Dixon wants you to head up the investigation.
Anyone who doesn't like that fact can make an appointment with my secretary to visit Scotland Yard.
Yes, sir.
Now, you did a terrific job with wrapping up that Tony Aldridge bit of unfinished. Plus, this area is Appleton's old manor. So it would be high risk for friends doing posthumous favours.
Or settling old scores.
We cannot, I repeat, can bloody not have a repeat of the Steve Doolan Farrago.
Absolutely not, sir. No danger of that with Lizzie. She's my best detective.
I thought Appleton worked out of Lambeth somewhere. Kennington.
Yeah, he started off round these parts, though. And he's a known face to the local gendarmes. And I don't want anyone sweeping anything under any carpets. If Appleton was into something bent, he's got to be brought into the light. No slugs left under no stones.
Yes, sir.
I want you to drop everything else you've got on the slate at the minute and work this case day and night. We need a quick, clean turnaround on this one. You all right for manpower?
Yes, I think so, sir. Oh, could you get me DC-8 Hendry from Shepherd's Bush? He worked the Aldridge case with me and is a dab hand with loose ends. Him, plus the rest of the regulars, we should be able to handle it.
Consider it done, Lizzie. We need to keep this as small and in-house as possible. I know I don't need to tell you, but no evidence goes outside the circle of your team, Sue Brennan here, and me. Any journalist starts squeaking, I'll know where it's come from.
Just like with Aldridge then, sir.
You up to speed on DS Appleton's disappearance, Lizzie?
Oh, only what I read in the papers and saw online when he went missing. I wasn't involved in the search for him. He was based south of the river. Wasn't the theory that he absconded with someone else's money or wife? Or both?
I've had all the evidence from the Misper case couriered over to Kingsley Street.
With all due respect, sir, I thought we gave Misper cases a lukewarm cup of tea in about 10 minutes these days. What useful is going to be on the file?
Not when it's a copper, a detective sergeant. You better make yourself busy, DCI McHugh. And keep me and Sue posted.
The local CID are going to love this.
Ah, Lizzie. I wondered who they'd send for this one. And when I saw DCS Brennan here, I knew it would be Lizzie McHugh.
I'll leave you to it then. Keep me up to speed.
Yes, Ma'am. Oh, Professor Keith Davidson.
I don't think I've seen you since we pulled a body out of a derelict lift shaft before the pandemic.
Oh, the job is filled with such romantic places. Oh, please tell me you've got something.
Have you done a body submerged in a body of water before? A body in a body, you might say.
I assisted as a DC on one at Bethnal Green.
This one's been in approximately 5 to 6 months.
Well, that matches our timeline with Appleton's disappearance last Christmas. How can you know that already, though?
Adipocere, DCI McHugh. Grave wax.
I see.
After months submerged in water, human flesh turns into waxy, crumbly soap. Adipocere. I'd expect to see that level of decomp on Chummy here after 5 to 6 months submerged.
So, that fits. Mark Appleton's last confirmed sighting was the 22nd of December.
Yes, December 22 to July 23 would be about right for what we're seeing here.
Beyond the circumstantial, do we have anything to positively ID him?
That, in addition to the wallet my assistant pulled from one of his pockets, we found a few bank cards and a police warrant card in it, all in the name of Mark Appleton. It seems fairly conclusive to me.
Oh, Professor Keith. Pulling a wallet from a pocket only tells me he went in the water with Mark Appleton's wallet about his person, not that he is Mark Appleton.
So young and already so cynical.
That's what the Met's fast-track scheme gets you.
Well, we'll get Chummy here back to the Westminster mortuary, get any prints and do dental records. Post-mortem 11 a.m. sharp. It's amazing what you can organise when you're Assistant Commissioner Crime.
Ah, the magic of AC Dixon, eh? All right, Professor Keith. The team and me will see you then.
Okay, everyone, listen up. The DCI is 5 minutes away now. Get any relevant info and photos on the board, and have your pencils sharpened, ready to go. You know she hates to be kept waiting.
I do indeed. Thanks, Sean.
Oh, morning, Gov.
Right, sorry for the hour, everyone. Nice to see all your smiling faces, though.
Mom?
Especially nice to see DC8 Hendry back in Kingsley Street. Aid did his CID puppy walk with us before going over to Shepherd's Bush as a fully fledged DC. And just in time for the pandemic too.
Good to see you too, Mom.
So, now we've done the This Is Your Life, we've got a big case coming. What do we know so far? At 0100 hours, a night angler fishing near the Bowlocks turned up a much bigger fish than he expected. And at 0140 hours, local uniform pulled a sports holdall out of the River Lee containing human remains, now thought to be those of DS Mark Appleton. As you may remember, DS Appleton worked out of Kennington Nick last December, just before Christmas, and was never seen again. As you will see, AC Dixon has, so kindly, sent over all the material from the Misper investigation back in January. What have we got in that little lot, Kirsty?
A lot of paper and not much to go on, Gov. It looks like the usual interviews were carried out. He'd last seen his ex-wife and kids Sunday 12th of December last, and was due to see them again on Christmas Day for lunch and presents. Never showed. No word and no replies to their calls or texts, or anyone else's. After a few days, the phone battery went dead.
Not a good sign. Now it looks like he might have gone dead too. What about the divorce?
Amicable by all accounts. Just pressures of the job and the usual...
So nothing to suggest he hadn't disappeared voluntarily and just didn't want to be found?
Well, Appleton's HR file says he'd been through the job counsellors for a bit of depression and drinking after his divorce.
Was that looked into at the time?
No, because he was assumed to be alive and AWOL. His file was strictly need to know.
And the Yard didn't want lots of people rifling through confidential files.
All right, we look into it. Did he top himself? And someone helpful cleaned up the mess, especially if life insurance was involved. Who else might have had a grudge? Had he upset anyone recently? Did anyone he put away for a long stretch just get out? I want to know it all. We need to check what he was up to after the 12th of December 2022. Has anyone checked his diaries?
He was on compassionate leave, Gov. After his divorce.
OK, Aid and Kirsty, do some checking round his friends. See if they remember anything unusual. Sean, see if you can talk to his governor at Kennington.
Yes, Gov.
Do we have his phone? I mean, was it on the body in the river?
No. No phone was found on his person or in the holdall.
Has anyone tried to trace it?
The skipper on the MISPA inquiry tried, but apparently the phone company can't do much until it's switched on again.
Well, either it was chucked or the battery is dead. Or someone's removed the SIM. Those are the standard ways to make a phone vanish.
Or it had something incriminating on it, which the murderer wants to make sure never comes to light.
All right, I remind you we've yet to get a formal ID, let alone a murder verdict from Keith Davidson. But for now, we're working on the assumption it's Appleton. And Lord knows I'll be more relieved than anyone if it's not. OK, Sean, you take Kirsty to the PM. I want cause of death. We think it's it's murder, let's be sure. Aid, you and I are going to stay here and look into Appleton's social media. I'm told most people live their lives on those websites these days.
Oh, they're apps, Mom. They're all on apps these days.
Do we at least have his computer?
Yes, Mom. All ready to go.
OK, good. It goes without saying, we don't discuss any aspect of this case with any of our pet journalists. No favours for tidbits. With the murder of DS Steve Doolan last autumn, everything's changed. We're all under the microscope. Got that?
You've worked a big case with the DCI before, haven't you?
Yeah, all of them for the last few years. Aldridge was the last big one, just before you joined us. Last of the hard men, him. Real 70s copper.
Yeah? That was just before I joined, I think.
Yeah. See, with that one, we knew who we wanted. We just couldn't make it stick in time.
And this is just chasing shadows, right?
Pretty much. Ah, we're here. Just pull in. We won't stop for the whole thing, don't worry.
Don't worry about me. It's you I've heard has trouble holding on to his breakfast. Sir?
Good morning, both. No DCI McHugh?
No, she's back at the office making a start.
Oh, you'd better come this way, then. We don't often see you darken our doors, Detective Sergeant. Now, as you can see, we've now cut him free of the bag he was found in. And we didn't find anything else in it for you to take back to DCI McHugh, I'm sorry. I do so like to give my regular visitors a party bag. Anyway, you're now watching Amanda, my very able assistant, unfolding our man. Rigor has long since set in and passed, so we're just battling against the forces of decomposition. Get that out of here, get it out! DS Spicer does have a very delicate stomach, does he not?
Not when it comes to 5 lagers and a king prawn pie.
That's very wicked, DC March. I dare say you'll be his boss one day, not the other way round. May we carry on? This is costing hundreds of pounds per hour. And there are even more cutbacks on the way, so...
Of course, Professor Davidson.
And now we have him straightened out, the first thing I would draw your attention to is this. The cobweb fracture on his skull here is most likely from our old friend, the heavy blunt instrument, and almost certainly the final cause of death.
Murder, then?
He could have fallen. Cursory examination shows our man to be 5'11", in early middle age, and in reasonably good physical shape at time of death. He suffered a vicious and prolonged assault before the final blow.
So whichever way you slice it, someone is responsible for his...
I see it's my job you're really after, DC March.
Sorry, Professor.
It must have been delivered with tremendous force, to judge from the number of concentric rings in the mosaic pattern of the fracture. See?
Oh, yes, there.
And with a blow like that, death would have been almost instantaneous. There's no visible sign he's been shot or stabbed from the remains here. He can't tell you about poisons until we send some samples off to Tox, though in his far-gone state, I'm not sure toxicology will establish much beyond what we can see here. Though arsenic stays in the remains for a long time.
Any idea what the blunt instrument might have been?
Just like DCI McHugh, you always want more. Short answer is no. I will take some casts from the bone and see if we can discern a pattern you can match to a weapon. See if we can't steer the humble servants of justice in the right direction.
And we're in.
That was fast.
Password was his kid's birthday. Basically first on the list of first things I'd check.
Better have a look at his emails. Well, hang on. First, let's see if he's on Facebook or what's that other one?
Twitter? Instagram?
Yes, that.
Which?
Don't get lemon with me, DC Hendry. I knew they were different things.
Well, I must say, it was nice of him to leave it all logged in. Where's this computer been since he disappeared?
Met Police Archives. No one's touched it. His family didn't want it. His flat's not been touched, so we hung on to it. We don't want anyone getting their sticky Germans on what might be our best lead, do we?
Here we are, Gov. Facebook. You know, social media is now often the thing that cracks a case open. People aren't as careful as they should be. They think it's all private.
Not much on it, is there?
Well, he didn't post much, but serving police officers aren't strictly supposed to have Facebook pages. Though as long as the powers that be don't have to go looking for one.
What the eye don't see, the heart don't grieve, eh? Oh, I'm guessing this one does photos.
Oh, yes. There you go.
And voila. The life and good times of DS Mark Appleton.
Want to have a look? Just scroll through using this.
So, these at this end are the most recent, right? This looks like late November. Where's this?
Pub somewhere? Could be anywhere.
Hang on a minute. Can you blow this up a bit?
You mean zoom in, Gov?
Yes, I do mean zoom in. Or you can zoom back to Shepherd's Bush and investigate the small veg thieves at the Dartmouth Gate. They're in makeup.
What?
The sort actors wear.
How can you tell it's acting makeup?
Oh, for one thing, it's caked on. Look at that big, ugly geezer done up like Tinkerbell. Actors get through more cold cream than Sue Brennan.
How do you know about actors' makeup?
Never you mind, Detective Constable.
Well, where is there a pub with actors still in makeup?
Oh, could be any of 100 pubs in the West End. But they wouldn't be still wearing mascara, would they? Especially the fellas. Looks more relaxed anyway. That body language says a good time was had by all.
Well, we know actors are notorious for partying. I used to see this girl up in the Grove.
All right, Hendry, spare me the gories.
But, Gov, there's still a few of those theatres left that are in rooms above pubs. Could it be one of those?
Bloody hell! Tony Mulvaney, as I live and breathe.
Who's he?
Him, slap bang in the middle. He's wearing makeup, but it's him all right. I'd know that face anywhere. I thought we put him down for a life stretch when I was a DC at Bethnal Green. Must be out early for good behaviour.
What did he do?
Oh, he only took a tyre iron to his ex-wife's new boyfriend, as I recall.
Nice guy, then. Let's have a look at his Facebook page.
He's got one and all, then?
Mm-hmm. Seems like quite the model prisoner. He's reformed himself as an actor, has a website now and everything. Want to have a look? Did some classes while he was on the island with a Jamie North.
Who's he, then?
She is now the artistic director of the Garden Gate Theatre in Kentish Town.
Well, that's a bit closer to home. And I'll bet those photos were taken in the Garden Gate's hallowed walls. That was quick.
Yeah, we only stayed for the match highlights, didn't we?
Well, some of us did.
All right, you two. What did you learn?
Nothing new, really. Professor Davidson had unfolded the body and made a cursory examination. Nothing else in the bag. But the prof reckons it was a blow to the head that did for him.
Not as helpful as we'd hoped, then.
No, Gov.
We sure it was murder? Couldn't have been an accident.
Hard to say, Gov. Davidson wouldn't commit himself.
Do it yourself, Lizzie. All right, Sean, you and I are going to see an artistic director in Kentish Town. She worked with a friend of our victim, Tony Mulvaney. I want to know what he's up to these days.
Tony Mulvaney? Huh. I'm sure boots sell an ointment for that.
No, we're going to see a woman called Ms. Jamie North. Here's the address. You're driving.
The Garden Gate Theatre, Gaisford Street, Kentish Town. Here, what's this got to do with the case, though, Gov?
I want background on Mulvaney as he is now. And Miss North is the only one who I can reach who I know's had recent contact. Oh, I met him a long time ago when the team at Bethnal Green put him away for a life stretch. He's a nasty, vicious thug and quite capable of doing what we found in East London this morning. He's emerged from the island as an actor and appears in at least 3 photographs with our victim taken in the final weeks of his life. I'd say that gives us more than enough to go and talk to Miss North. Aid, you and Kirsty here are going to see the great Tony Mulvaney himself. Ready, Sean?
Yes, Gov.
Why's she got her knickers twisted about this Mulvaney bloke?
When I was a TDC on her squad, her instincts were usually spot on. That's good enough for me.
Yes?
DC March and DC Hendry from Kingley Street Police Station. Can we come in?
Yes, of course, officers.
Mr. Mulvaney?
Yes.
DC March, and this is DC Hendry. Mr. Mulvaney, we'd like to ask you a few questions concerning someone we believe to be an acquaintance of yours.
Oh.
Detective Sergeant Mark Appleton. What does that name mean to you?
DC March. That's right, isn't it? I'm not who I used to be, or indeed who you think I am. There's no need for the formality. Call me Tony. If we talk, we should talk as friends, and I think friends should call each other by their names.
Mr. Mulvaney.
You'll know all about me, of course. My journey has been an extraordinary one. From lost soul who committed a terrible venal act to actor who brings all of that life and depth with him onto the stage. But it's not real now, you understand.
Yes.
Jamie North helped me see that I had to channel my depth and darkness, otherwise it would consume me. Utterly. Have you ever been totally consumed, DC March? Oh, but I'm making you uncomfortable. That's unforgivable.
We want to ask you about your relationship with Detective Sergeant Appleton.
Oh, I didn't have a relationship with Marky. I'm fully cognizant prison makes some men turn to sodomy, but I'm powerfully heterosexual, DC March.
I'm not interested in your sexuality, Mr. Mulvaney. How did you come to know Detective Sergeant Appleton?
If you really must know, it's very simple. He came to the theatre where I was playing Brutus in Julius Caesar. If you know I know Marky, you'll probably know that in prison I met the woman who has been instrumental in changing the direction of my life. You could say she's directing the rest of my life, curating it. I've had roles in several plays at her theatre, The Garden Gate.
Yes,
She's
Jamie North, we know. One of my colleagues is talking to her, so bear in mind we will be checking up on anything you tell us today.
Well, she introduced us. Mark came to the theatre a few times, we got talking, he was a nice guy, that's all. I didn't interact with him outside of the bar under the theatre. And it only struck me when he disappeared that it was the same man.
Thank you, Mr. Mulvaney.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to help the long legs of the law.
Oh, you reckon this is it?
Yes. The pub doors were locked, and according to the electoral roll, Miss North lives in the flat above the theatre.
This looks like a back exit or a tradesman's entrance.
Well, it does say theatre on the door, so...
I have a feeling I know exactly what Jamie North is going to be like.
And I have a feeling I'm not going to warm to our Miss North one little bit.
Yes.
DS Spicer and DCI McHugh, Metropolitan Police. Miss Jamie North.
Let me see your warrant card properly. You flashed it so quickly. Okay, you'll want to come in, I suppose. You can't be too careful these days with trusting policemen, and I do use the word men advisedly.
Perhaps you'll answer my questions then, woman to woman. We're investigating the disappearance and the possible murder of Detective Sergeant Mark Appleton.
Who?
Detective Sergeant Mark Appleton. We have reason to believe he was a customer of your theatre on several occasions.
And we have you and him in the same photograph on Facebook.
I do hope you had a warrant to look at my Facebook, Sergeant. My father is one of the top lawyers in this country.
Miss North, this is a murder investigation. We don't need a warrant to look at the victim's Facebook page. And if you don't like that, I can refer you to one of the most senior policemen in the country. So I'd be grateful if we can cut the Lady Muck impression and stick to the point. We've accessed the deceased page and found you and another old acquaintance of the police photographed together in this building numerous times.
You mean Tony Mulvaney, of course. Once a con, always a con. Is that how it is, Inspector? I've worked with dozens of offenders, and I've seen the law of easy collars with staggering regularity.
There's no easy collar where he's concerned. He beat a man to death with a crowbar, and now I'm trying to get to the truth about what happened to a colleague of ours.
Well, that's all right then.
Who has a family who miss him and want answers. Human beings, just like the characters you march about in your party room up there. Except the ones I deal with are real and don't get put in a cupboard at the end of the night while the likes of Tony Mulvaney get to go and have a drink.
And I bet I know what you think about the likes of me as well.
I doubt you'd have the vocabulary to describe it.
Miss North, it would really help us if you could tell us how you came to meet DS Appleton and why he's in several photos on Facebook with yourself and Mr. Mulvaney. Then we can leave you alone to get on with your day.
Okay. I met him through Simon Deacon, another prisoner I worked with when I was volunteering at Brixton. I seem to remember he was quite small-time, never going to pull off the crime of the century or anything. I always got the feeling he was some sort of police informant, you know? Always served the minimum tariff before parole, that kind of thing. And that's all I know. Now you know what I know, and if you both kindly leave, I've got a day to get on with.
All right, listen up, you lot. Oh, Sean, can you do the briefing? It's Davidson, I've got to take it.
So, what have we found out today? If it's useful, it goes on the board.
Oh, Professor, please tell me you found something.
Well, I'm not sure if it's good news, but it was definitely murder. The angle of the blow, you see. I've done some measurements, and it's almost impossible a fall could have done that.
Could he have been hit by a car?
No, the injuries are entirely inconsistent with that.
I've cleared up a few hit-and-runs in my time, but never a hit-and-bag, I have to admit.
No, Detective Sergeant Appleton took a sustained beating and was finished off with a blow to the side of the head with something the shape and weight of a claw hammer. My assistant is emailing you a photo of the type we think made that impression on the skull. It looks like the claw end was used first, probably to torture rather than kill him. And then the final blow came from the round end.
Oh, pretty common brand. Even I've got one of those at home.
Well, ruling nothing out.
What I mean is, any number of DIY stores in the Bow area are going to sell those.
What is less common is the bag. It's a large oblong leather bag with a head logo on both side panels. A little research my assistant did came up with this. Also on the email.
Oh, yes. I remember those.
I did some checking, and that style of bag hasn't been manufactured or distributed in the UK in the last 18 years.
Well, that takes us back to 2005.
And it is Appleton. We can confirm that.
Ah. How did you get the DNA results so quickly?
You know, it's amazing what you can do when Dixon sanctions the budget.
Oh, yes. He did say this one's no expense spared.
And we got lucky. Appleton participated in a police DNA database trial in 2010. No one got round to wiping the records.
Good old GDPR.
Anyway, I must be going. You'll have my report by lunchtime tomorrow.
Thanks for the heads up. Enjoy your dinner.
Did I say I was dining? Night, Lizzie.
Evening, Mum.
Lizzie, glad I caught ya. A Sue Brennan here. Sean said you'd gone home for today.
What can I do for you, Mum?
I'm not pleased with you, Lizzie. It's only one day of the investigation and already you've been ruffling feathers. I thought AC Dixon was clear that the investigation had to be run low-key. Meaning, nae bother.
Oh, this is that Jamie North cow, right, Mum?
She's been on the phone to the yard, Lizzie.
I don't imagine she butted many parsnips there.
Lucky for you, AC Dixon asked me to sort it. And I've persuaded Miss North not to make a formal complaint, but your coat is on a shugly peg. You know her father is the Deputy Chief Crown Prosecutor at CPS. Anyway, you're not to go harassing her again. Understand?
I did know harassing. She'd probably have rung the Home Secretary if I had. And they were probably in the Cambridge footlights together.
Lizzie, you're a senior officer now. Playing politics is not an optional part of the job. Get on with the investigation and stop pishing about with the great and the good.
Message received and understood, Mom. I'll try not to be a wee shape bag either. Not really getting anywhere though, are we? The files aren't giving us anything. According to Appleton's diary, he was often compassionate and wasn't working any cases. He had quite a heavy caseload, but nothing heavy. Nothing that could get a man killed. The tastiest looks like a domestic in Kennington-Lane, but a skinhead with Temperhead on his lager's hardly the sort of brain to pull off something like this. No, this took planning. The execution looks quite improvised. Bad choice of word there, Lizzie, but that's what we were meant to think. This is the work of someone who's done it before. First-time killers either get nicked quickly because they're sloppy, or they never get nicked because they're careful. My money says we're looking for the latter here. Simon Deacon? That's the one who brought Appleton to the Garden Gate Theatre. The one Jamie North talked about. I'm sure that name's ringing a bell. Me. He's been in and out of Kentish Town Nick so many times I should think they've given him a loyalty card. Also known as Sime Deeks, originally from London Fields, Borough of Hackney. Well, that's my old patch. Born 17th April 1996, deceased 28th of June 2023. Deceased? He can only have been 27. What happened? Found dead on the tracks outside Kentish Town main line. Suspicious death. Investigation ongoing out of Kentish Town CID. 0207454. Oh, hi. Is that Kentish Town squad room? It is, great. DCI Lizzie McHugh from Kingley Street CID, Soho. Yes. My authorization code is 45624. Yes. I'm calling about an ongoing investigation you've got on the books. Suspicious death of one Simon Deacon, a.k.a. Sime Deeks. 28th of June this year. I think I might have a connection with a case I'm working on. Yes. The murder of Detective Sergeant Mark Appleton. Is DS Simway still in the office? He's gone home? Okay. Can you tell him I'll call him first thing tomorrow morning? Night.
This was an Evcol Entertainment Clockwork Digital Studios original production, a part of the On Another Wavelength audio anthology series, featuring the voice talents of Michelle Campbell-Jones, Holly Gillanders, Will Harrison-Wallace, Mitch Howell, Chris Machari, Georgie Montgomery, Helen Stirling-Lane, and Mark Stewart. Written by Richard Bates. Directed and produced by Simon James Collier. Series created and co-produced by Adam Dechanel. Soundscape design by Zachary Elliott-Hatton.